Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's session. Yeah, today is International Stand-Up Day, Stand-Up to Bullying Day, which is observed twice a year in February and November. In February, it is on the last Friday of the month, while in November, the day takes place on the third Friday of the month. It will be observed on February 25th, 24th of this year. And these observations are also part of Anti-Bullying Week that aims to create empathy and end bullying and harassment. It's observed by schools, workplaces, organizations in more than 25 countries. Bullying can have lasting effects on a person's psyche, and it is important to recognize instances of bullying and put an end to them accordingly. So International Stand Up to Bullying Day emerged from the acts of two Nova Scotian 12th graders, Travis Price and David Shepard, stood up and protested when a Fuller student was picked up for wearing a pink shirt. They bought 50 pink shirts at a discount store and emailed classmates asking them to wear the pink shirts that they had bought the following day to create a sea of pink to support the bullied student. Many students wore the shirts while rest came in their own pink clothes. Their act of creativity and kindness gained notice around the Canada and the United States of America and other countries. By the following year, International Stand Up to Bullying Day had gone viral in many countries across the world. So it is a semi-annual event that takes place in both February and November. The November event coincides with Anti-Bullying Week. Those participating in the day sign and wear pink plaid shirts to take public stand against bullying. The shirts convey displeasure for bullying and extend support to the victims is a non-confrontational way to stand up against bullies. It first took place in February 2008 when 236 schools, workplaces, and organizations participated by wearing pink plaid shirts. Each participating school, workplace, or organization hosts its stand and aid provided by event coordinators. Organizations such as Bully Help Initiatives are committed to developing effective support structures for victims. The first anti-bullying law in US, Georgia passes the first anti-bullying law, the cyberbullying law. The California state legislature passes a law directly to the cyberbullying, anti-bullying legislation. Canada passes an anti-bullying law. The last state to join is Montana to adopt the law in 2015. Anti-bullying refers to laws, policies, organizations, and movements aimed at stopping or prevent bullying. Bullying is a situation where a person called a bully verbally or physically threatens or assaults a person, causing the person to feel a real or perceived power imbalance. Pink shirts aim to reduce bullying by creating diversity in all its forms and supporting workplaces, communities, and schools to be safe, supportive, welcoming, and inclusive of all people. There is no federal law regarding cyberbullying, but most states have made some sort of effort to address this growing issue. Some have explicit criminal laws against it, while others require school or district policies to mitigate its effect. Still others view cyberbullying as a form of criminal harassment. So to take a stand against bullying, extend your support to victims by wearing a pink shirt on International Stand Up to Bullying Day and raise awareness. And let your HR know that you would like to encourage your co-workers to join you in observation, as it's valuable in workplace as well if your workplace doesn't observe this day. So bullying is a serious issue in America. 5 students aged 12 to 18 has been bullied during the school year. About 160,000 teens have ditched school because of bullying. Bullying makes students skip school. Verbal harassment is most common at 79%, followed by social harassment at 50%, and physical bullying 29%, and cyberbullying 25% are the major reported forms of bullying. Bullied students rank lower in reading, mathematics, and science than their peers, so bullying can lead to poor scores. Only 39% of high schoolers notify an adult of bullying. Older students report bullying less. So this day hopes to create spaces that are inclusive for everyone. No one feels left or uncomfortable. And this day imagines a future where no one is bullied and everyone gets along. It envisions a better future for all. Today is also Discover Girl Day, is also known as Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. It is an occasion for volunteers, educators, and others to act as role models for young girls who are aspiring engineers. They facilitate engineering activities and show goals. Girls, how engineers help in transforming our world. This day aims to help girls develop an interest in engineering and build their confidence in their problem-solving skills. It is a myth that being an engineer is a man's domain. And nowadays, more and more women are studying university courses in engineering, science, math, and chemistry. If you are looking for funding your degrees, there are plenty of engineering scholarships, science scholarships, mathematics scholarships, and even just scholarships for women available. And it is a worldwide campaign to try to engage girls in engineering. Thousands of people, including engineers, educators, and others, act as role models, facilitate engineering activities, and educate girls about how engineers change our world, including how to code robots, build bridges, design catapults, and so much more. Many labs and universities have created grade-specific activities to assist girls in discovering the exciting worlds of engineering and technology. Their main goal is to relate practical applications of math, science, and engineering to the world around us and to objects that we use daily. These girls will experience a day thinking, working like an engineer, where they will do activities such as creating color explosions or constructing flying machines. Classes for girls are conducted by their adult mentors. Girls can register for classes on Saturdays and Sundays, both in the mornings and afternoon. Students work together to solve engineering challenges during the class sessions that showcase different types of engineering and the problems they solve. Moreover, they can sign up for more than one class. So women engineering professionals volunteer to teach girls this day to share their knowledge and experience and demonstrate how exciting engineering can be. And curious minds will be able to interact with these amazing women and ask them about their background as well as their experiences in pursuing the field of STEM throughout the week's activities and classes. Women engineers support one another in the workforce and reinforce a feeling of belonging, which is an advantage of being around world, women engineers. Electrical engineering is one of the most preferred engineering types among girl students. Diversity of thought and approach are the greatest benefits of having women engineers on team. So talk to a girl about engineering, be a mentor, meet students online or offline to bring awareness. Today is National Trading Card Day. Trading cards are a sort of games that are usually made of paperboard or thick paper. A typical trading card may include a picture of a person, place, or a real or a fictional thing. These pictures are typically accompanied by a description and text such as statistics or trivia. Some of the earliest trading cards were related to sports, and most major sports have appeared on cards. Baseball cards have been the most popular of sports cards in America. Some non-sports trading cards may feature cartoon characters, comic book characters, or television characters. Collectors also use the cards to play games such as collectible card games. In the late 19th century, trade cards were included in the cigarette packs to make them sturdy, known as cigarette cards. They advertised cigarettes and would sometimes contain trivia. The first baseball cards were made in 1860s for a sporting goods company. The most valuable baseball card ever, the T206 Honus Wagner card, was manufactured by the American Tobacco Company in 1909, and one has sold for over $3 million. So in 1933, baseball cards were first packed with gum by the Gaude Gum Company. The Topps Company Inc. started putting trading cards with bubble gum in 1950 and manufacturing baseball cards in 1951. In 1952, the first baseball cards, including statistics and playing records, were made, and then they were known as the 1952 Topps baseball set. An especially important card from the set was Mickey Mantle's rookie card. Topps remained the most popular brand for trading cards for decades. For both sports cards and non-sports cards, baseball cards were packed with gum till 1981 and were then sold separately. The number of sports cards being made increased in 1980s, and this trend continued well into the 90s. There are a few factors that determine the value of sports cards, and this includes the card's condition, the popularity of the card subject, and how rare the card is. During the 1980s, collectors began to really take care of their trading cards once they realized how valuable they could be. In the 2000s, some companies began producing digital cards. Today, one trade, buy, and sell cards on the internet. So Topps have been synonymous with trading cards, particularly baseball cards, for 70 years. That era will soon be over. Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Players Association are not ending their licensing agreement with Topps in favor of a deal with Fanatics, the up-and-coming sports collectible brand. Today is Twin Peaks Day in US. To commemorate the day, FBI agent Dale Cooper comes to town to investigate the death of Laura Palmer. Cooper arrives in the town at 10:55 a.m. in the first episode, Northwest Passage. The event is marked by Cooper saying, DN 11:13 a.m., February 24th, entering the town of Twin Peaks, 5 miles south of Canadian border, 12 miles west of the state line. I never seen so many trees in my life. As W.C. Fields would say, I would rather be here than Philadelphia. He dictates the above in his ever-present microcassette recorder for his far-off assistant, DN, to someday transcribe. So there are around 5,120 people living in Twin Peaks. And not as mentioned by Frost and Lynch as 51,201, as Frost and Lynch added a 1 onto the end after ABC felt that the town should be more populated. So ABC pushed for a conclusion of the Laura Palmer murder mystery that had been the main storyline since the pilot While Lynch and Frost had intended to leave the mystery unresolved, Lynch directed the episode before departing the show. The real-life murder that inspired the series is going on to become the subject of a new documentary, along with a non-fiction book of the same name titled Blondie, Beautiful and the Dead, the murder mystery that inspired Twin Peaks. Today is also World Bartender Day. Are indispensable to the hospitality industry. As you can see, with a lot of people into alcohol and consumption and a lot of pubs, bars and nightclub culture, you cannot imagine without a bartender. They keep patrons well supplied with beverages, especially the alcohol kind, and make sure that everyone is having a good time. So if you are unsure about what drink to get on or what to try something new, you are most likely to ask a bartender for help. Who knows, maybe this is how you will find the next favorite drink to spoil your entire life. The next time you enjoy a fun night out with your friends, don't forget to thank the bartender to get you addicted to the alcohol. Today is also Yukon Heritage Day. It brings the history and culture of the smallest of Canada's 3 territories in the forefront of public attention on the Friday before the last Sunday in February. Schools and Yukon government offices close while business owners have the option of giving employees time off. Today is also Tortilla Chips Day. These crispy triangles of deliciousness became a nationwide sensation. And on February 24th, these salty snacks with the National Tortilla Chip Day is being celebrated. Whether you eat your plains or dip them in a spicy salsa, tortilla chips bring festa to any occasion. The state of Texas declared the tortilla chip as their official snack in 2003. According to the report from the Snack Food Association, tortillas are outselling hot dog and hamburger buns in 2010. So this is very famous selling snack. And you can buy really a good tortilla chips at your local market. And of course, some of the best ones can be had at the Mexican restaurant down the street. Tortilla chips are very simple to make at home. Heat some oil, cup up some tortillas, fry and enjoy. So sometimes these tortilla chips are perfect party food. So throw them a big party, host a fun night with friends and family. Again, remember, this is also an unhealthy junk food. There are also blue corn chips, organic, salted, unsalted, and many more. And as they are popular, they are social food. These crisp, delicious corn treats are perfect for sharing with your friends. Nothing makes a party like a bowl of salsa and a bag of tortilla chips. And nachos without tortilla chips is a gooey mess. Tortilla chips make the dish, and this one is the best foods in existence. And mild, medium, strong, corn, peach, chunky, thin, the salt, crispy tortilla chip complements each of them, bringing out of unique flavors and bringing them to servings. So today is also Edward Dickinson Baker's Day. It marks annual celebration of Oregon Civil War hero, lawyer, and military leader Edward D. Baker. And finally, today is also Skip the Straw Day. In the light of ongoing battle against global warming and plastic pollution, take the time to consider whether we really need that whimsical plastic tube in order to enjoy our favorite beverages. We can slurp more down by just going straight for the glass edge anyway. So let's go eco-friendly, and that as straws cause a lot of environmental issues. The digestive tracts of turtles get blocked, resulting in starvation and eventual dying. Plastic expands too, making turtles beyond and easier prey for predators. According to the Sea Turtle Conservancy, approximately 100 million marine animals die from ocean's debris each year, and more than half of the sea turtles in the world have ingested plastic. Plastic isn't biodegradable, which means that at most plastic straws break down into smaller particles that are harmful for the environment, animals, and humans. So finally, the last commemoration for the day, Stephen Paul Jobs, or Steve Jobs, popularly known, was born on February 25th, 1955. He began his tech career in 1976 with his business partner, namesake Steve Wozniak. The duo founded the now $2 trillion company, Apple. So today is his birthday. Jobs was a force to reckon with in tech industry. His inventions, designs, and investments led to the company's success, even when it was on verge of bankruptcy. He was a brilliant visionary who took multiple steps into the future. by revolutionizing the use of computers. He deserves so much credit for his work. That is why we are celebrating his special day right here. So Paul Jobs is his full name. Nickname is Steve. Born on February 24th, 1955. And he died on October 5th, 2011 at the age of 56. And his height is around 6'2". And zodiac sign is Pisces. And he has a net worth of $10.2 million. And born in San Francisco, California, he was adopted as an infant by Paul and Clara Jobs. However, his birth mother, Joanne Carol Schebel, was of American, German, and Swiss descent. His birth father, Abdul Fattah Jandali, on the other hand, was Syrian. Hence, Jobs has American, German, Swiss, and Syrian heritage. He is a Pisces who love for electronics developed from watching his adoptive father work and build almost anything. He was a loner in middle school, often got into trouble with authority figures. However, he was brilliant and ended up skipping the 5th grade. He transferred to different schools but still got bullied. Jobs attended Homestead High School in 1968, and by 1971, he was taking freshman English classes at Stanford University. He got into Reed College in September of 1972. After a semester at Reed, Jobs dropped out as he thought the education wasn't of value to him. However, he audited some classes, including calligraphy, to which he credits Mac's typefaces design. Jobs kept in contact with his high school buddy, Steve Wozniak. By March 1976, Wozniak had completed the design for the Apple I computer. The duo decided to sell it. And in April 1976, Jobs, Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne founded Apple Computer Company in Jobs' parents' garage. So Jobs and Wozniak produced 200 Apple I computers that year. The company soon got the attention and funding it needed. By April 1977, both partners premiered the Apple II at the West Coast Computer Fair. The company became mass-produced and highly successful, and Jobs' wealth grew exponentially after this. In 1978, he was worth $250 million and was named on the Forbes list of wealthiest people. On January 24, 1984, he premiered Macintosh at Apple San Diego. In September 1985, following a disagreement with the board over Macintosh, Jobs tendered his resignation letter to the Apple board. He then starts a new venture, Next, with $7 million. Jobs was running out of money with Next until billionaire Ross Perot invested in the business. In 1988, the Next computer was premiered to the world. However, the Next workstation was released for the purchase in 1990, but at $9,999. They were cost prohibitive. In 1996, Apple bought Next for $427 million, leaving Jobs with the permanent CEO role of Apple Inc. With his return to Apple, Jobs introduced the iMac, iPod, iTunes, and several more ventures. On June 29, 2007, he introduced the iPhone. Jobs was diagnosed with cancer in October 2003 and thought the cancerous tumor was removed from his pancreas in 2004. It returned in 2006. Jobs resigned in August 2011 and continued working for Apple until his death in October 2011. He was survived by his wife, Lauren Powell, whom he married in 1991, his 4 children, and other extended family members. So a college dropout can only become one of the wealthiest men in the world by unrelenting resilience, and hard work. Jobs exhibited these qualities and he was highly resilient. And Jobs had an uniform, a black long sleeve turtleneck, and Levi's fine work blue jeans. He thought it was a daily convenience, and he was not flamboyant. Jobs never fit into a box during his childhood and pubescence. His individuality was that triggered bullying from his peers. He was a misfit. Jobs searched for spiritual enlightenment and was a Zen Buddhist. He was deeply spiritual. After Jobs funded Pixar, he received credit as the executive producer of the 1995 Toy Story, and he was named executive producer. After Disney purchased Pixar in a $7.4 billion all-stock transaction, Jobs emerged as the largest shareholder with 7% of Disney stocks from his transaction. So he was Disney's largest single shareholder. And Jobs functioned as a board member of Gap Inc. Jobs experimented with LSD and claimed it was most subliminal feeling of his life. Although both Jobs and Gates were billionaires, Gates became richer. Jobs' wife, Lauren Powell, was left with most of his money. And before his death, Jobs repeatedly declared his admiration for Mark Zuckerberg. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemoration. And we request everyone to fill the feedback form. As we have some time, so we will discuss on some basics on paper presentation. So when you are doing, when you are selecting a topic or a paper or a poster to be presented, first you need to find out what are the pressing problems of the society. So there are various problems in the society, not only society, maybe we are also at a personal level. Might be facing some problems. Problem may not be a huge problem, like every day, every moment, we might keep facing problems. Problem in its own sense doesn't mean that it's a huge problem or something that is a very complex problem. It can be. Say, for example, tomorrow I have to wake up and go to my college or university. So you might think, what is new in that? Anyway, sir is going daily now. So what is the problem in that? Okay. So let's explore. Now, what could be the problems? You can unmute yourself. Feel free to discuss because you will learn a lot only through discussing. So I want everyone to interact because this session is entirely for you so that you can learn, you can unmute yourself, and you may analyze, think and analyze, and share what could be the problem or what could be different kinds of problems that I may face in reaching the college or university tomorrow morning. Anyone would like to share? Feel free to share. This is for you only. It will help you in future. Otherwise, let's say now you have to, now it's almost we are getting closer to dinner, right? Now we need to have our dinner. So what would be the concerns or problems or issues in having our dinner? You can take any real life problem. Yeah, Mary, you can unmute yourself. Everyone can unmute themselves and they can feel free to discuss.
Sir, actually, we should plan how many members are there, if they're liking common or what dish. If it's common dish means it's easy to prepare. If it's two people are liking two different dishes means you should get the ingredients, keep it ready 1 hour before only. Then you should prepare dinner.
Yeah. So similarly, when we are planning for a paper or poster, we need to think of all these things. So this is how we start, for any paper presentation or poster presentation. Initially, first we need to identify a problem, a research problem, where we also need to find solutions also. Say suppose, now assuming that we have to prepare a dinner, we have to satisfy our hunger. The problem here is satisfying our hunger. There are various ways, means to satisfy hunger. The easiest or the common way is, to go to kitchen and prepare something and eat, satisfy our hunger. The other way around, with nowadays, mobile in our hands and food delivery apps in our mobiles and, online payment and, lot of other facilities. Otherwise, if you are not willing to cook by yourself, you can ask if you have some helping hands at home. You can ask one of your family members to prepare or ask your maid to prepare. Otherwise, you can also place an order through food delivery apps and they will deliver it and you can consume the food. So these are various options. So assuming that satisfying hunger is our problem and how to solve that problem is a research problem. And how we will solve, we look for various alternatives. Various alternatives like how to solve this problem. See, our major problem is to solve the hunger. So there are various alternatives. We can solve or satisfy our hunger by eating something. We can eat anything for that matter, which can help us to satisfy our hunger pangs. So it can be anything. It can be junk food, it can be healthy food, it can be homemade food, or it can be outside food. It can be anything, any food that can satisfy our hunger. And it can be prepared by ourselves, or it can be prepared by others, or it can be, prepared by someone else in the outside, and that can be delivered or served to us. So these are various alternatives. And the various options we have in this, whether we would like to go for a, snacks, or whether we have to go for a light meal like some tiffin or breakfast like thing, or whether we want to go for a full meal course like full thali or full plate meals. And in that also, whether we want to go for a pure vegetarian or an vegetarian along with egg, or or a non-vegetarian, or you want continental, traditional, Mughalais or Chinese or Japanese, whatever as per your wish and will, or as per your interest, or as per your taste. So these are also our various options. And apart from that, we have additional toppings, flavors to be added, and we have starters and sweets and other things which are added to that. So why we need to plan, or why we need to think in different ways, is to find out exactly what we want to do, and what we want to achieve, or what we want to present. So many times, people take vague topics like, food or satisfying hunger. Selection of topic is very important. You cannot be so vague or broad in selecting a topic. Like if you say satisfying hunger. So satisfying hunger, that is a very broad topic, right? Now, you can satisfy hunger in different ways. And now, whose hunger you are trying to satisfy? Who is hungry? And how it is being satisfied? And again, that itself poses a lot of questions. So whenever you are selecting a topic, you have to select a very specific topic, satisfying hunger of so and so. So say, suppose I want to satisfy my hunger. So I can be as specific as satisfying my hunger for today's, for, today's dinner, or, for tonight. I can be specific that, the intended population or the sample is me. And the research problem or the problem is to satisfy hunger. And the solution is how I am going to satisfy the hunger. And say we have methodology or different ways to satisfy the hunger. Whether we can prepare or whether we can order or whether we can get it prepared by ourselves or others. Like I am telling in a common man's, simple thing so that we can get an idea. It's not how it actually works, but, it works actually like that, but not in the terminology of, how to understand in a very simple manner. So we need to be very specific when we are taking topics. We cannot take topics in a very vague way. That doesn't, unless and until, you are covering a very broad topics. Like, for example, if you take sustainable development, within the sustainable development, there are 17 goals. That's huge. And again, within the sustainable development, each goal, there are various domains that are falling, various areas, avenues, various industries, those are coming, and various factors. So we cannot take, again, what happens when we take such a broad, or a vague topic? You cannot do justice to that topic because we all have time constraints, right? We don't get unlimited time. We cannot go on speaking, or we cannot go on, presenting. We have a time limit there. So within the time limit, whatever we can present, we have to present, or whatever we have to present has to be presented within the prescribed time. So for that, we need to be very specific of what we have to present. And within that, we have to achieve our goal of presenting and completing the desired outcome. So that's why we have to be very specific. Otherwise, what happens? Our purpose may not be solved. Suppose now in the similar example, satisfying hunger or satisfying my hunger tonight. Say if that would be a research problem. Now, how do you frame the hypothesis? Can anyone unmute and say, what can be a hypothesis for this research problem? Say if this is a research problem or statement we have framed. Do you know hypothesis? What does hypothesis mean? It's a tentative statement.
Sir, the hypothesis is the highlight of that research.
Not highlight, ma.
Okay, sir.
It is a predictive statement, or it is a statement that will tell us that will inform us about our prediction, our assumption. So what is that we are trying to achieve? Whether it will satisfy my hunger or not. One statement would be okay, it will satisfy my hunger. Other statement would be, it will not satisfy my hunger. Or whether I will be able to satisfy my hunger, or whether another statement would be, I will not be able to satisfy my hunger. So these can be statements. How can we be very specific to this study? So when we are talking about hunger, satisfying hunger, these can be a very simple statements. But when we have a study like how to, satisfy or satisfying hunger, my hunger tonight, if that is a research problem, now how do we frame the hypothesis? It's very simple, right? Either we will be able to satisfy hunger or we will not be able to satisfy hunger. Or whether it is in between, like, it is neither satisfied or not dissatisfied. It can be in between also. And there are various other alternatives. Let's take some other example. So what other example we can take? You can tell one more example or one more research problem. Say, suppose now, tomorrow morning, I have to go to college or university. Now, what are the different steps or different steps I need to take or planning I have to do? Say, suppose you want to, okay, university, college is regular. Say, suppose tomorrow morning you have an exam. Tomorrow morning you have an exam you need to attend. So what you will do? You don't know that place, you don't know that exam center, you are writing some entrance exam or, eligibility exam. So you got your hall ticket with you, you just downloaded your hall ticket and tomorrow is your exam. So what you will do now? That is your problem, to find your exam center. Now what would be your preparation?
Firstly, we should check the address in the Google. If not, we should have asked someone else where it is located and have to go. What is the way? Is there any mode of transportation like a cab or RTC buses available? We have to check.
Okay, very good. Then
time of duration. Because it is exam time anyway, will be in hurry mode. So how much time it will be taken, and maximum before half an hour we should go there, and so that we can dilute for some time, have some water, and we can aramse go and write the exam.
okay, very good. Then what all else is required? Is that enough?
No, of course, like we need to check all the mandatory materials what are needed, like hall ticket we have to, and the materialistic things which are needed for the exam we have to get prepared, the plank or the paper, pencil, everything we have to set right, and we're supposed to go.
Then what else? can we mention this in a sequence? Say, suppose now you got an intimation or an information that hall ticket is issued, and you can download it from website. Maybe assume that you got an SMS from the authority that your hall ticket is available on the website for download. Now, what you do? We'll go by sequence, because sequence is very important. What you will do immediately after checking the message?
Firstly, I'll check the link, what it is available, and then I'll directly go to the Mi Seva. From there, I'll get the printout.
Then
After getting printout, already hall ticket is in my hands.
so what you will do with that hall ticket?
So I'll check the hall ticket number, and is there any corrections are there? I check everything detailed. And after that, after going to examination hall, I'll check whether which room comes under my hall ticket number and all. Based on that, I'll go and have a seat.
Okay, but you haven't yet gone to exam center. Na? Just now only you downloaded hall ticket. Na? There are series of steps we have skipped. But tomorrow is exam, na? No, feel free. There is nothing wrong. No? What we are trying to see is generally this is a tendency. We skip many steps in between. That's why we keep revisiting, relearning, redrafting. Again, we end up doing because we miss the sequence. So the same thing happens with this paper presentations also. So as you rightly said, you will go get a printout and verify all the credentials, all the details on the hall ticket, whether it is my hall ticket or not, whether the exam is, the appropriate exam and all the details are correct, your name, father name, whatever is there, and your subject, your center, and you will verify your photograph, signature, and center's address, contact numbers, and signatures, whether the print has come properly or not. You will check everything. And then you will read the instructions on the hall ticket. That is very, very important. You need to completely go through all the instructions on the hall ticket.
Yes.
So it will give us an idea what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And when to do and how to do. All these details it will give us. Then it will also give us the date and time of examination, venue of examination, and when to reach the venue location, exam center, when to report, and when to enter the exam hall, and what to be bought with us and what not to be carried with us, and how we have to present themselves. See, certain exams nowadays, with availability of all sorts of electronic gadgets in the form of jewelry, in the form of watches, in the form of pendants, in the form of, all sorts. Now, even the scrutiny has also increased. Nowadays, people are not, exam centers are not even allowing jewelry also. Certain times, it's very difficult. Because, this is, there are practical things that are happening. It doesn't mean, everyone will do that. But they have seen, there are many instances where we have seen that malpractice or copying or cheating has happened using such devices. So using watch, we know we have Bluetooth enabled watches, we have smart watches, and we have different kinds of electronic gadgets. Now we have pinhole cameras with the live streaming facility and with the embedded Wi-Fi technology, infrared technologies, and near field technologies, NFC, and we have different technologies. So with low power devices, we are able to connect and transfer the data. And we have these pinhole cameras, we have specs also, which can copy and transmit data. Even lens, our spectacle lens can also act as, monitors, can act as scanners. So these hi-fi gadgets are being used. Especially these are not used by common people, especially those who are rich, super rich, because for them only they are accessible. For common people, they are, first of all, they cannot afford them. Even if they can afford them also, they will be, very cautious about using them. What if they get caught? They cannot manage, their life gets ruined. They get debarred from further appearing for a minimum of 3 years to 5 years, depends. So what will happen then? So that's why first thing is knowledge of such devices. And second thing is usage. Having a device is not a big thing, but you should know how to use, right? And you should be comfortable using that. You cannot go into an exam hall and keep exploring how this device works, right? So you should be quite normal, as you should be or you are expected to be, and you should be continuing with your work without disturbing, without causing any unwanted, untoward actions or behaviors. So, a lot of pre-exposure or hands-on experience is required. So these all made, and we know today we have gadgets almost in every shape, size, even in the form of, these hearing aids, or in the form of jewelry, like I told, in the form of bangles, in the form of rings, in the form of ear pendants, or, pendants. So even gadgets are knitted into our clothes also, for that matter, in our shoes, hair bands also, especially these Bluetooth, even hair bands are available, which look like hair bands, but they are, having all the functionality to transmit or to share information. So with availability of such gadgets, it may look, absurd, or it may be annoying, or it may look also crazy, why such rules has come. Because, of course, 99% of the participants or prospective, students are not going to use it. But there are 1% who have used it or who are planning to use. Because of them, the rest 99% are being affected. So this is what happens, generally, because someone has used it or someone has tried to use it. So to avoid such cases, now these rules will come into place. So we might be wondering, especially when certain things are there, so, where certain, married women, they wear these Mangal Sutras and other things. Even that were also, removed, because, even we have certain electronic gadgets in the form of buttons. We don't know, we cannot allow. Even we have in the form of chains. So every form and shape we are having gadgets. But how do we verify? Again, we don't have that much time. So there are various issues. Of course, where there is a will, there is a way. But again, no one wants to take risk. Again, if nothing happens, everyone is fine. If something happens, then everyone starts at them. So that is the reason no one wants to take a risk. So such rules will come into place. They will mention what's there in the very first place. Prevention is better than cure. We will inform first it in the very first place itself. You have to come in plain dress, and that too not with heavy dress and with heavy jewelry, heavy toppings, leggings and everything with all additional accessories, fashion accessories. All are banned. You have to come in simple clothing without even pen or pencil also. Because nowadays we have pencils, pens, and sharpeners, erasers also, which look similar and have these electronic gadgets which have the functionality of connecting remotely. So that's why, and these things have happened. That's why now getting notice of all these things, being aware of all these things, these competing authorities or exam authorities have been changing and adding new rules to the hall tickets. That's why it's very important to see and read the instructions carefully. And apart from that, there are certain health, hazards or pandemics going on. So there might be certain vulnerabilities. So they might address you. They might instruct you to carry sanitizers or, masks or any other related relevant equipment. And if you are a diabetic, then you may be allowed certain food items, or they may not allow food items, but they will make a provision within the campus where you can take a break. And that break also doesn't come at an additional thing, or might also come with the allowance time. But again, it depends on the authority. And if you are, say, suppose diabetic and you have to, and the exam duration is very long, maybe it is extending from morning to evening or a couple of hours where you need to consume some food in between. So you might be given certain instructions, like you may be allowed to carry food in transparent, containers where they can inspect what you are taking, or they may allow you within the canteen or within the premises. They may arrange food like fruits or something, biscuits or some snacks, which can be consumed in the exam center itself, or maybe within the hall or outside the hall to meet the requirements. So similarly, all these instructions are provided within the hall ticket, or they may provide you with an additional link where you can also access all this information. Apart from that, they may also mention additional requirements like what to carry, documents, and the list of documents like ID card, and what kind of ID cards are accepted with the state government or central government or any other ID cards which are acceptable, so that you can carry one or more ID cards. Generally, it happens, you have a very old photograph or ID card is not clear or mutilated or damaged partially, or you may not having that original card with you, or you may be having a copy, this photocopy of that. And there might be certain issues, and it is quite common in India. You have one name, or name is same, but it is misspelled or spelled differently on different things, or certain times you may have short name or long name on one card and other card. So all these things are quite common nowadays. Now people are becoming very much aware and trying to, keep it same on all the documents. Otherwise, there were a lot of these things that were happening. And again, in some documents, initial is in front, and in some documents it is at the back, and with full name, without full name, all these things are happening. So they might also give information about these things. So that's why it's always, better to carry one or more ID cards to prove your identity, because they will also not be willing to take risk. So they might not allow you, or anyone for that matter, aspirant inside without verifying. So all these instructions will be available, and whether if you are allowed to take pen, which pen, ink pen or ballpoint pen, and that to which color. And nowadays they are also specifying even the pens or water bottles or pencil boxes, even if they are allowed also, they need to be transparent. You cannot carry color boxes or solid color boxes where everything has to be transparent, so that they can see through what you are carrying, even though they open and see. But also they want, water bottles also, if you are carrying, they are not allowing water bottles also. So unless and until you buy these disposable water bottles, and that too, they are very strict about removing those labels, because under the labels you can carry something, or on the labels you can carry some information, or hide some information. So that's why they are removing that label also. So we have seen many cases, many instances where, and you are not allowed to carry in certain cases where additional papers, even rough papers, are given by the examination centers, and you have to return them also back before going. Even certain exams or exam center doesn't allow to carry an additional printed hall ticket or documents, because again, you can write on something on it and take your home. Again, that is also possible. So that's why they are not allowing. So because they are learning from learners actually in that process. So that's why it is very important to read all the instructions. Why I'm very specific about, the instructions. Whenever we are trying to present a paper or a poster, or make a presentation for a conference, for a seminar, or for that matter, in our own college or university, you have to go through the instructions carefully. You have to go through the brochure or flyer or the instructions carefully. So we can assume that hall ticket is a notification here for a conference or a call for paper presentation. So we need to be very careful in going through all the instructions, and based going through all the instructions, you have to go through 2-3 times. You don't assume that just going one glance. Sometimes, we don't even go through it properly. We just have a glance and we assume that we know everything. No, read it 2-3 times. Try to understand what are requirements, what are different themes on which we can present, what is the format, and what is the length required. And all these things you have to carefully see what is the language. And all these you need to carefully study. Then you also need to see what are the various deadlines and any instructions provided, whether it is a standard format or specific format they are asking for. And are there any specific research topics or specific themes? So all these you need to study carefully. And in case of any doubt, you will also be provided with some sort of contact. It may be through email, it may be through chat, or it may be through call. You need to find out. You may have the numbers of coordinators, student coordinators, faculty coordinators, or conference organizers like convener or chairperson or director or secretary. Different designations are there based on the kind of committee, organizing committee that is constituted. And sometimes you have a lot of, huge list of names running under different committees. Like, whenever we organize, we have a lot of committees like transport committee, printing, design committee, a lot of committees are there. But, you may not have all them, but major members of the organizing committee, you might have a list. Sometimes you don't find that list also due to space constraints and not running into huge number of papers or number of sheets. So you might find a simple notification where you can get basic information like who is organizing and what is that they are expecting in the event, and who are the target audience, and who will be the target presenters or resource persons or speakers if they are inviting papers. Otherwise, if it is like a seminar where everything, all the speakers are already decided, they will also mention the details of speakers and their topics and a brief introduction. So similarly, there are different ways. Though there is no standard hard and fast rule, there are different ways where we can present this information. So apart from that, they will also provide various other information, like which font to be used, which size to be used, whether it is single size or double size, formatting, what is the page formatting, page borders, margins, like that. It depends on, event and various organizers' requirements. If it has to be published, or it has to be, these are very much useful for copying and pasting and editing. And some might specifically ask you for a Word document because they need to copy, and some might just ask you a PDF or Word document or a text file. So it depends on different requirements, depending on number of resources they have, the kind of technology they use. And it depends from organization to organization. Though, organization might be huge, big, but they might not have time or resources for that event or budget for that event. So they might also restrict the kind of, so they keep on, they give instructions accordingly. And do not assume that every event or every conference or every seminar will have same terms and conditions, rules and regulations. It varies from depending on budget, depending on the topic, depending on various factors, it keeps changing. So all this information, if any, will be provided in the notification or the brochure or flyer. Similar way, that's why we need to look at the hall ticket carefully. So that will help us, to know how we have to start planning. So after going through all these instructions, if still any clarification is required, so there might be a helpline, some contact numbers, some email address, or some toll free where we can contact them and get the queries clarified. Otherwise, you can also find sometimes, not all times, but sometimes you can find the contact numbers of exam centers. Otherwise, also you can Google it and you can find the exam center numbers or address. Nowadays, it's very easy. You just Google type it number and you can get all the details, official website or whatever it is. You can call them and you can introduce yourself briefly and you can get it clarified. So someone will be happy to help you if they have allotted some resource person for you, for the students who are coming to write exams. So these are different ways and means to get the information and to equip ourselves with the required information. So that's why it is very careful once we download our hall tickets to check all the details. Once we get the flyer or brochure, it's very important to go through all the instructions carefully before we start even planning. Just try to understand what is the requirement and then accordingly plan. Then you know what are different. Now you know after this what you will do. Now you have confirmed that all the details are correct and you also got all the information about what you need to take and what you need to avoid. And you also got the location, address, and you have already spoken or you are already aware of that locality. And then you will plan. Okay, everything is ready. So you are clear, you are prepared. Anyway, you have to be prepared. Otherwise, there are some students who will prepare overnight. For them, there is additional task of collecting material if haven't collected, and do night out and study. Otherwise, those who are prepared, okay, they will just go through once again if time permits, and they will prepare. They will start planning. So what's the time now and when to, if it is in the evening, then plan for the dinner, at what time I have to take dinner, and if any review has to be done, if any reading has to be done. So we will do it now or we'll take rest after dinner for some time and wake up early in the morning and start preparing. And we'll also see at what time the exam is and how much time it takes. We should at least, plan 2-3 times than what the time is required to reach the venue. It's always advisable. You always have calculate 3 times more or at least 2 times more. Say suppose if your estimation is 1 hour, you should keep minimum 3 hours. You allot 3 hours, you take into consideration 3 hours because anything can happen in between. So you should have the time, adequate time, more than double time. so that if something goes wrong or something which is beyond our hand, our scope, you can always, look back and try to address those issues and try to, fulfill that requirement. If, say, suppose you, in spite of keeping everything, if you miss out something, again, if you need to travel back and forth, then you have that additional, double time so that you can again travel back and go. So that's why you always have to plan, 3 times the actual time required. So that will keep you in a safe zone. So in a similar way, when you are planning to prepare or planning to present a paper, so you have an assumption or you have done your preliminary analysis that, okay, for this, it will take 1 month or 1 year or 1 week or 1 day. Accordingly, you will have an idea, maybe with consultation with your mentors or professors or your friends or your guides. You can talk to them, supervisors, you can talk to them, you can discuss with them, and accordingly assess the time required for the presentation. Then so that we have adequate time if we need further corrections or modifications. So say, suppose if it takes 1 week, then we have to, if we have sufficient time, we have to start preparing before 3 weeks. We have to start our preparation so that we get in 1 week, we will be able to complete if we are following the schedule, and we can review the paper once again, or we can give it for review by our experts or professors or supervisors so that they can also go through and they can give their suggestions. So in this way, it is always advisable, it is always recommended, unless and until you are hurry or you are running short of time. If there is an adequate time, you start early, at least have, 3 times the time required or the resources required, so that it you can complete it smoothly in time without any issues or concerns or hurdles in this process. Not only that, what you can do, so you will first assess how much time is required, what are the resources required. Say, suppose now you verified all the details, you came back home, and you now from now onwards, you know all the details, and you will plan. So tomorrow, what time is the exam and where I am located? From this location, what are the various sources I can reach that place? And you will gather information about each source. Like if you have someone who can drop you, you will look at your own sources first initially, where you can by yourself start exploring, searching, and collecting information and preparing paper by yourself. That is your own resources, whether you own a vehicle or someone in your family member trying to, who can help you, maybe your parents or your siblings, or maybe your spouse or your neighbors or friends nearby who can help you, who can take you and drop you at the exam center. So that is your own preparation, where you have within your own resources. So that would be the very first option. And next option is look for other alternatives like public transport. Like maybe if you are comfortable or if you have enough time and if you are comfortable with traveling, changing, and you are used to traveling in public transport, where if it is more convenient that if you have a direct access where you can reach through public transport without additional transportation required, if it is nearby bus stop or nearby railway station or a walkable distance, then you might consider that and choose a nearest bus stop or nearest metro or nearest suburban rail or similar, or you also take an auto or cab or taxi. Accordingly, you will see all the options available, and then Yeah, sorry, was in call. No? So where we were? Time, adequate time. Okay, so we need to prepare well in advance so that we get sufficient time to get it reviewed, and if based on the suggestions or based on the review now, we can get it modified and we can submit our final presentation to them. So that's why it is very important to start early so that we have sufficient time. Then we need to find various sources. We need to find various sources on collecting, gathering data so that we can prepare our paper. Like the very first thing what we need to do is we need to do review of literature. How we will do, say suppose, now it's like we know the exam center, but we know how to go. What we will do, we will first try to find out within our family and friends if they know the exam center or not. Okay. So if they know, accordingly, we will find out if they are well acquainted with that area, with that exam center. Maybe someone has studied there, or someone is working nearby, or someone has already been passing by that place, or some relative or some friend is residing nearby. Or there may be different, options or different choices or different ways to find out information and which would be the best mode of transportation, and by which mode it is more affordable, more accessible, and more safer, and where we can reach quickly without any problem. So to come to a conclusion or to finalize which one to choose, we will try to talk with our known people. So that's why we do research, review of literature. So we try to find out within the already existing routes someone has traveled that area, or who is staying there. We will ask we will ask them which would be the best transport to reach that, which would be the safest one, which would be the shortest one, and which would be the convenient one to reach there. So there might be different options, like as we discussed, by own vehicle, or by hiring a cab or auto, or by taking a bus, or taking a metro, or taking a suburban train, or various other options. So in that we will see where is the exam center. Again, whether we need to use a single mode of transport or we need to change the mode of transport, and what would be the cost, and how safe it is, and how convenient it is. Say suppose metro is shortest and quickest and safest, but your place and exam center place might be far from metro station, but it is helping you to connect within a short time, safer and convenient also. What you have to do, again, you have to take up 2 or 3 modes of transportation. Maybe someone has to drop you at the metro station, or you have to take a bus. So similarly, to reach metro station, you need, again, you need to plan all these alternatives. Then you also need to consider after, okay, you will reach metro station. Again, you will take metro time. Again, you need to be aware of what time you will be reaching and whether at that time you have metro train available. You will also have to check the timings, and you need to see whether it is peak time or off peak time, and accordingly, if required, you will use someone else's card, or whether you will buy a card if there is a huge crowd or at that time, or you will go buy a ticket from there and use it. So similarly, you will plan, or if someone in your family or friends nearby are using a metro card, you can borrow a card and you can use it so that you can avoid all the queue lines of buying a ticket. So accordingly, you'll plan, you will go there, and there also you will find out what is a route to reach. Maybe you need to change different lines. We have red line, blue line, yellow line, orange line, depending on the city, depending on the metro. So your destination may not be on the same line, same track, or same route. You might you may need to transfer from one line to other line, one route to other route. You need to get down at some place. So that also you will consider. Whether you need to have the provision of changing within the same station, or again, you need to. Sometimes we have nearby stations where both the lines do not connect at an interjunction. You need to change it. You need to walk down or walk up somewhere. You have to change. So you will consider all these options. Similar way, you have to consider all the options. You have to do your review of literature. You need to find out whether there is an existing literature available, and you need to find what are various sources accordingly, and accessibility of the source. Say, like there are paid journals, free journals, like Francis and Trailer, or Scopus, or depending on the type of papers, or like whether it is a medical paper you are planning to submit, or sciences or social sciences. Based on that, you need to search. Of course, you may get paper, but you may not get full paper. Some papers may be paid, some papers may be free. You'll find out there is some literature or paper. You may just be able to read the abstract. Then what you will do, unless and until you don't go through the full paper, you might not be in a position to, come to a conclusion. So you need to also see the affordability, accessibility, and usability, and how safe it is to use it, whether it is a genuine paper, or whether it is a genuine source, whether it is authentic or not. All these things you need to consider. So similarly, you also take transport and you see how safe it is, how convenient it is, how affordable it is. All this you will consider. And then you will also consider if you are changing 2-3 modes, if you are collecting for different sources. Like one is, you can search it online, and you can, wherever you get information, you can download. Otherwise, you have various sources like Shodh Ganga, Gangotri, like which are depositories of already PhD thesis and MPhil thesis and various projects submitted to various universities. So that would be the best source, to start. And later on, there are open journals, and where you can search. And there are some paid journals where through your university website, where you can visit libraries. University libraries will have access. You can request librarian. He will help you. Otherwise, he will help you to access that by providing a system which has access to papers. And also make sure, not every university has unlimited access. So you have to be very careful. You have to convey your requirements to, how you are going to, and what is your requirements, because certain times there may be limit for each access, certain on number of papers you can review or download. So in that case, if there is a limited access, you need to check with your librarian. You can ask the librarian. You can share your details, research details that you want to do review of literature, and you need some papers, relevant papers, and he will be able to help you, and he can help you to download papers. So don't just simply go on, it's always a good practice. I also see, certain libraries, they come and they just simply keep on searching, downloading, and at the end, they don't use anything and just throw it away, leave it on the, system and go. But again, other research scholars are there, faculties are there. They want to download, again, it will show that your day limit has reached. So you cannot download further. So where there are very limited resources, you need to be very cautious. And they will also have the record. And don't think you download and go. A librarian will have all the access, metrics and, logs of who has downloaded what. So again, see, they will not tell you anything, but again, we need to be very conscious about what you are doing. Sometimes they will also say that you should not download, you just go through the paper. And if you require, then only if you're really sure about that paper, you can download. Otherwise, don't simply download papers, because that will add to the quota. So or otherwise, librarians are very good enough to help you. They will help you to download. And or otherwise, sometimes, there may be similar download papers already downloaded. So they are also available for some time before they do their regular routine maintenance. So from that, if something is useful for you, you can also use those papers. Otherwise, if they are physically available in the library, they will also, librarian will be able to assist you to refer some textbooks or reference books or journals which are already there in the library. So similar way, you need to look for alternative sources, and there may be also already published or submitted research by research scholars, students within your organization, within your college or university. It's always good to go through the list of that research work also. That will also help you to see for the resources. So you may be wondering, for those who are very much new, you may be wondering why I need to search for similar research work. See, that will give you a lot of references. Already they have done a lot of review of literature. They have gone through some 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or 100, 150, 200 papers. They have already found out similar research. They have done all the homework, background work, and they also selected and they wrote and they have presented in their review of literature. So as per my review of literature, I found similar studies. So and so person has conducted so and so research or study, and this is what he has done, and this is what the outcome is. So that, and he also has the bibliography or references. So which all he had shortlisted, he or she has shortlisted, all those references, links and references are provided in the paper, at the end of the paper as an appendix or appendices. So that references you can take out and you can go through and you have half of the work done. So it's easy for you now, see where you can look out. So you can look out for similar, you can take from them if it is very much relevant to you. You can take few from them and you can go through that resource, that paper, resource 1. You can go through that. You can go through that paper. You will find again resources, references in that. So this is one of the way. This is not the only way. I'm just giving, there are various ways. So this is one way where you can dig up and you can get lot of resources from one resource. And that is one way where you can collect. Otherwise, you can directly go to a journal or a publisher and you can start searching by the keywords, and there also you get a lot of similar research works. Otherwise, you can use referencing softwares like Mendeley is there, which is a free version is there. You can install in your desktop or mobile phone and you can use that software. And within that also you can request authors. If it is paid also, free also, you can request directly. You can place a request. If you are interested, you can just, within that, you will have an option. You can ask the author for a full paper. If author is, very kind enough, he can share the full paper with you without any payment, if it is a paid paper. Otherwise also, you can get all the details. And you can also find the various references and authors. And based on author, you can also find the same author, if he has done similar research. You can also get the list of papers written or, done by that author. So there are various ways to conduct research and various ways we can look out for resources. And which one is best? There is nothing like hard and fast rule. It depends on the availability, as I said, affordability, convenience, a lot of factors goes into it. And then what you will do, so after you have completed your review of literature, you collect from that, you select shortlist. Minimum you have to do at least 50 or 100 or sometimes 150, 200 papers. If you do, you will be coming with a solid review of literature. Then you will have an understanding, proper understanding, what kind of tools, questionnaires or methods they have used. And you will have a very good, solid idea, and you will be able to present a very good paper. So after making this review of literature, then you will be able to come out whether you have, any solid research related to your topic. Then you can write, then you already have found out a problem and you have hypothesis framed. You can also even do frame your hypothesis even after review of literature also, because after review of literature, you may get few more ideas. So based on that, you can also change reframe the title of the topic. But again, generally before that only we'll do. Otherwise also, there is a practice. After you gain some more insights, you can also relook at the topic, research topic, and also frame one or more or change or modify the existing hypothesis. Then accordingly, you can also of course, before that, rationale. Okay. Rationale is, the reason why you have chosen this topic. What is the significance? What is importance of this choosing this study or research or topic? So you might be, we generally ask, why you have chosen this topic? That is what we mention in the paper as or in the presentation as rationale. Rationale is why you have chosen the topic. What is the importance? What is the significance of choosing or selecting that topic? So maybe you might, in a simple sense or a simple, you might have got interested in it, or you like the topic, you want to explore. As we can explore, we can have exploratory research where we can simply explore. There might not be any technical or, a lot of data involved. We can just do review of literature. See, even we can do research and do presentation. Maybe you can take a topic and you can do review of literature. Say you can past 10 years or past 20 years, you can collect all the papers published, and on that you can do an exploratory research and you can present a paper on that. See, like I have chosen this topic, and based on that, I have done my review of literature. I found that. So I have taken these many years, past 15 years, this is the trend. And these are different types of studies that has been conducted on this topic or on this phenomena by so-and-so authors from so-and-so institutions. So number of research work conducted, number of articles published, number of posters published, and still there is gap, or still there are certain values or variables that needs to be studied, or further this research can be extended, or whatever research conducted till now has certain limitations or has been very much limited to certain things. So you can expand. You can expand the scope, you can expand the research, and you can suggest. Even this kind of presentations are also allowed based on, the conferences. So you can do exploratory research, you can explore the phenomena or the concept, and you can also present. So similarly, if you have, based on that, you can also, depending on the topic, the kind of topic. That's why we are informing you to be very specific with your topic. You explore within the topic and you be very specific. That will help you. And at times it will also be very difficult, to get very specific topic. In that sense, you can just go a little bit general, but try to be as much as specific as possible. That will really help you, anyone for that matter, all of us, to have a very good solid research and see what is trending. That helps. The trending topics helps your paper get published very soon. And if it is a very new topic, see, initially, when we were, initially COVID was new, it was like you write nonsense also, it got published. So, people were just looking for something on COVID. And it doesn't really mean it's a nonsense, but, even the so-so quality also got published. Because there was no, this new studies, especially earlier, COVID was not new for us. It was there since long time. But this kind of impact was not there by COVID on humans. So at that time, when COVID was there initially, so there were a lot of research that was going on. We don't have COVID patients. Now, what to do? So we also reviewed earlier in other countries where COVID was there, that effect, and we reviewed that papers, and, based on that, we also wrote few papers, contributed few papers. So similarly, at times we might select some some new ideas where it may be difficult to find review of literature or existing literature on the topic. So don't worry that you don't have or you don't get, but you can relate. See, there is nothing that has been told in Vedas. Almost, if you go back to Vedas, our ancient scriptures, almost everything has been discussed, talked. So you can quote from there also, no problem. As per so and so Vedas or as per so and so this, it is there, and from there you can start. There might be some earlier Vivekananda Swami or someone or even sages or someone has spoken about it. You can quote that also, not an issue. And so in that manner, you will definitely find, because we don't get phenomena or concepts that are entirely new in nature. It might be there. It is only a little bit difficult to find out, but otherwise, it is very, it is there. You can find references. It's nothing like you don't have any references. Or if you don't have exact research, then you can also refer to similar research, and then you can quote them in the references. So, and there you can also mention that I found relevant research, but I could not find exact research on this. So that's why, my interest lies, my rationale of taking this topic is there was no earlier research on this. So now there is a need to conduct research. So that's why I have chosen this topic. Like that also you can mention. So in different ways, you can use these topics. And how do you do research? Again, we will do what we will do. Oh, we already exceeded our time. Tomorrow we will discuss after commemorations. Anyway, Sunday we have, Sunday a full day is there where, we can share the conference information to everyone. So you can ask all the queries. I am there. And I will explain you everything in detail in a very lucid way with a lot of examples. No need to worry. We will also discuss about all the terminologies, what is research, and what are different research methodologies, techniques, tools, and how to do review of literature, how to write, and what are various formats like APA, MLA. And there are various formats and which format to use, and how to format your document, how to format your references, how to write abstract, and how many keywords has to be used, how to select the keyword from the research, how to frame 5 hypotheses, and how many hypotheses are required. These all we will discuss. Again, it takes a lot of time, most of self-exploration. But we will see on Sunday or tomorrow also, if time permits, we'll also take it up tomorrow. So hope everyone has filled the polls, feedback form. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.